Live now. Let's make sure everything is up and running. Let's see here. All right. Welcome to Sunset Spark Live. We're just checking things out, seeing if the various knobs and pots are turned correctly, checking out what's going on, various feeds, trying to see if we can get Twitch and Periscope to work. Let's just bear with us as we figure this out. That still works. Okay, I think we are officially on Periscope now. All right, hi, I'm Galen, Sunset Spark. Let's pull that. Hi, I'm Galen at Sunset Spark. This is our second attempt at live streaming with our Sunset Spark live show. Today we're on Twitch and Twitter/Periscope. Hopefully, I didn't actually check Twitch. Oh, cool, we're on Twitch too. All right, cool. So today, instead of building a new robot, I've got to get some photos done for our Twitch page, and so I was going to use the protest robot to have some photos of it holding up signs. The protest robot is a little robot that's going to hold up a sign, and it kind of shakes its fist and lifts up its sign like it's protesting in the street. We designed this robot for Martin Luther King Jr. Day a couple years ago, and it's been a big hit with students when we do it in classrooms, typically 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classrooms. Students can, they design their own protest signs for it, little tiny ones. They're like, maybe like 2 by 3 inch signs where they get to write their own protest messages on there. Sometimes kids protest social issues. Sometimes We've had a couple fan robots for like BTS and other sort of fanfare type groups and bands and things. It's always fun to see what the kids come up with. Sometimes they write their messages in English, sometimes in Spanish, sometimes in Chinese. We've had some students go with the theme of robotics and translate their message into binary using ASCII. Maybe it was ANSI or ASCII codes, but binary. So yeah, it's a fun robot for kids to make. It can be done in one period if you're a teacher at home. I'm going to walk you through a video on how to build it. I have the guide off to the side here off camera, but hopefully everything that I show will be enough for students to follow along if they're watching this video in class or at home. All right. Okay, so our protest robot today is going to use a medium-sized Lego motor, or sorry, large-sized Lego motor, and it's going to kind of stand up like this. And it's going to have hands right here that come out, and if I'm remembering right, these are maybe the arms, and it's going to go, it's going to kind of like that, and lift its hands up and down while it protests. One of these is going to be for the sign. The other fist, well, we'll see as we build it. So parts we need. Get all the parts out ahead of time. We need medium-sized motor. We are going to use axles. Got a few size axles here. I'll get to the sizes in a moment on those. Let's see, what size is that? Looks like a 13. I might not have everything in front of me. I kind of have a random assortment of Legos in front of me. So I might have to get up, and actually this next piece I do have to get up for, to our Lego area. So we need 2 size 13 pieces right there. 2 size 13 beams. We have 2 length 13 axles. I'm sorry about the lighting, by the way. I don't have a light, and my natural light that I've been working off of isn't looking good today. It's a little cloudy and gloomy here in New York, so I don't have the natural light that I've been depending on for these earlier broadcasts. We also need a, what is this, size 9? 9. We need, I think it's a length 9 angled beam. We need, I'm going to put that axle there. That's a 9 length beam too. We're going to use a frame beam, 2 5-hole. Is that 5? Yeah, that's 5. 2 5-hole. Oh, sorry, these aren't length 13. This is length 12, and so this must be length 10. Length 12 axles, length 10 axles, length 5 axles. Even ones are always black, odd ones are always gray. It's a good tip for people building at home that they alternate colors. When I keep them organized, I try to, it also helps keeping them organized because then if they fall into another box, you can easily see what size. If they were all the same color, it would be very hard to tell one hole apart. We're going to use 2 gears. We have 2 of these angled beams. I don't really have a good name for that. We're going to use 1 tiny little 2-hole axle. What else do we need? We're going to use 3, and this aspect is important. We're going to use 3 frictionless, so they're beige or gray, axle pegs, and 1 with friction. We want the frictionless ones because this one's going to move a bit, and we need to make sure that we have it's easy to move. We also need, in that same vein, we need 3 frictionless pegs, and we need 4 regular black pegs, and then we're going to use 2 blue long pegs and four of these long pegs with axle connectors on them. I think that's all the parts we need. Okay, so first step. Oh, that is not all the parts we need. I forgot these, which I set up earlier. We need two, let's see, what number are they? Number 6 axle connectors, 2 number 1 axle connectors. The number is printed on the side. The 6s are right angle, the 1s are just have one axle that connects to it. We need one of those things. I don't have a fancy name for it. It's one of those gray, it's like a hole and axle connector, but it's like cross connect. It connects at 90 degrees. And we need a fist. Where's my fist piece? We need a fist, because our protester is angry. Angry about something. All right. All right, now that we got all that, let's throw that all off to the side. All right. First up, we're going to take our two did I say these are 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Two 13 length beams. We're going to take our two large angled beams, and we're going to take 4 of our only 4 black pegs, and we're going to plug these in. One is going to be the very first hole that fits into the angled beam, and the other one is going to be at the first corner. If you can see, I will hold it up so everyone can see it. We're going to connect it like that. Oh, like that. Symmetric on both sides, and then we're just going to pick this up and push it down like that. It kind of looks like a high heel boot, or I guess a regular boot. I don't know. It's not really a high heel boot, maybe. I don't know. But you want 3 open holes at the bottom, because these are going to be the legs like this. If I am right. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. We want 2 open holes at the bottom. I had a feeling that wasn't going to work. All right. So it's not really it's just a boot, not a high heel boot. We want just 2 open holes at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to look like that. 2 open holes at the bottom. All right, set those off to the side. Next, we're going to get our motor, frame beam, and 2 of these reds. And we're just going to put that on. Fits perfect. One of the frame beams are really good for putting on top of the motors like this. They fit very well, and it gives you lots of ways to connect other pieces to the motors. And you want to put it something like that. All right. Set that down. All right. Now we're going to take our 2 gears, and we're going to take one of these axles. One of the short axles, one of the 5 length axles. We're just going to put it straight through the motor and connect the gears on both sides. It's important to use the 5 length for this, because you don't want anything sticking out of the sides, because we're going to use this as a crank motion. So as it spins, if there's something sticking out, it's going to get caught on the piece, on the axle in the middle, and we don't want the axle sticking out. So make sure it's pushed all the way in. Okay. Let's see if anyone's watching at home. Oh, we have 2 viewers. It's exciting. All right, where's my instructions? Normally, when I'm building these with students, we work in Brooklyn schools where we teach typically like between 4 and 6 periods of robotics a day. And so the first class, I'm still kind of working out the robot and how it can connect. By the second class, I can pretty much eyeball it from across the room and figure out where kids are making mistakes. But it's been a while since I've done the pro test robot, so I can't do this one from memory quite yet. All right, now we're gonna take our legs. Now we're gonna take our legs like this. If you're looking at home, if you're a kid looking at this in class, make sure line it up like this. So you want the gears facing towards you, and you want the white part of the leg sticking out towards that way, is the best way to connect this. And you're gonna take your blue 3-length pegs. Important to note that you can only connect them, there's 2 different ways to connect these pegs because there's a little notch right here, a third of the way down. So you just wanna make sure the notch, you wanna take note of the notch so that you can get these connected to the middle of the peg so that there's a part sticking out on both sides of it. And then we're just going to take these legs and connect them like that. Look, now we're starting to have a robot that can stand. This is going to be the front of the robot. The head's going to go up here. Actually, this robot doesn't have a head. Normally we use paper heads in class, so I'm going to have to freestyle a head, or maybe just print one out while we're doing this. All right, next we're going to make the fist. So we can put our robot to the side. Fist, pretty easy. We're going to take our fist. We're going to take red axle, fist piece, and just connect them right there. All right, like that. All right, now we got to make the other arm. The other arm, we're going to use a frictionless peg. We're going to use a blue axle peg, and we're going to use this little, let's call that a hand. So we're going to connect it like that. All right, and so it should look like this, or like this, depending on how you want to hold it. We didn't use a frictionless one on this because we want this piece, the gray piece that I'm calling the hand, to kind of stay firm when it's holding the sign. So if we use a beige piece here, this will wiggle. Let me show you. If we put a beige piece here, the sign's going to keep falling over because this piece will wiggle more. You can see that it's wiggling there. So we don't want to use a beige piece. We want to use the blue piece. All right, now we got our 2 arms. Put those up there. Now we need to make the, let's call them the tendons. They're the part that's going to they're the crankshaft, I think is what it's technically called. It's going to make our arms move. So for the crankshaft, it's symmetric because we have 1 crankshaft for each side. We're going to use our 2 longest axles. You should have 2, I think we called them length 10. No, length 12 axles. Right, were they 12? Yeah, 2 length 12 axles. We're going to use our right angle pieces. We're going to use our right angle axle connectors and our other axle connectors here at the top. We're going to use 2 gray frictionless pegs and 2 beige frictionless axle pegs. So we can just connect. I'll do one side, and then we can compare and contrast. So you want it to look like this, with one axle, or sorry, the beige peg's pointing one direction, and the gray peg is pointing up. So one pointing to the side, and the other one pointing up. We were discussing on the camera yesterday that I don't quite have the zoom focused. I need probably another camera to get a zoom in for this. We'll work it out eventually. All right, now we've got 2, 1 for each side. They do have to point in different directions because it's 1 for each side, just like We have thumbs on different sides of our hands. Same deal with our robot. Okay, so now we're going to stand this bot up. We've got our 2 arms. Oh wait, I forgot a piece. Sorry. Rewind. We also have to add a beige. Is that not in my instructions? Oh, it is in the instructions. We just want to make sure we add a beige frictionless peg to the arm with the fist so that it looks like this. Here's the other arm. Ah. Like that. Dun, dun, dun. All right, and we are going to take, see if I can do this backwards for everyone. All right. Oh. We're going to take our arms and put them at the top corner here. Whoops, let me get that back in shot. We're going to take our arms and put one right here, one right here. So they should wiggle a bit. They should wiggle quite a bit because they're frictionless pegs. Don't mind the glare. So it's going to look something like that. They should be wiggling. All right, now we have to connect. This part kids sometimes have problems with. We're going to connect our tendons, as I was calling them. You want the beige piece up near the arm, so that's going to connect to the arms. There is a bit of exactness to this. If you don't connect it to the right spot, it may malfunction because this is like a crank motion. It really is kind of specific to the length and the position of the pieces. So we're going to connect it to the 4th hole, 1, 2, 3, 4, to where it's like its bicep would be, I guess. And then we're going to connect this to the wheel down here, the gear down here. Right? Yeah. 4. Same deal on this side, 4th hole. And you could alternate if you wanted to on the gear. You could alternate where you connect the other side of this axle piece. So one hand shakes, here, I'll just show you. So if we spin it now they move together, shaking and lifting the sign. But I think in protest, someone might shake their fist with one hand and then stop shaking and shake their sign. So it might be better to alternate, depending on your style of protesting. So if we alternate, it'll go one after the other. Okay. Now, these other pieces over here are for the head and the sign. I'll do the sign first because the head's going to be a bit more complicated. So the sign, you're going to use one of these. I might have an extra. I think I was only supposed to use 4 of these. So we're going to throw the other one back. All right, I'm going to show you the headless protester first. So you can put this in one hand. Let me get a piece of paper so we can make some signs. Need some paper, some tape, craft materials, crayons, markers or whatever. Right. Oh, forgot scissors. Okay. So we've got our robot. I guess we could test it out first. Let me turn on our computer. Let me cut sign out. Doesn't really matter how big it is. All right. And up. Let me show you what it looks like moving. We're just going to use motor control. So it's going to plug in behind the head and move that out of the way. Go to motor control and it'll move like that. It doesn't walk, it's a stationary protester. So it shakes with one hand. I was mentioning that we could, so that's with them alternating on different sides. So one's connected to the back of the gear, one's connected to the front of the gear. But if we were to swap and put them both in the same position on the gear, now it will do them together. All right, we've seen that. Let me make a sign. We could really use some more subscribers. I think the only subscriber besides me right now to our Twitch channel is my friend Anne-Marie. Shout out to Anne-Marie. You will see her on an episode as a special guest. Subscribe to Sunset. Did not plan for room on that one. Ran out of room. So as a student, I'd say just flip it over. But subscribe to Sunset Spark NYC on Twitch. Not a very angry protester, I'll be honest. I'm going to write now in capital letters. Now! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. All right. And so once you have a sign, you can tape it onto the axle. And now we have a headless protester, but now he has a sign, or she has a sign. It has a sign. If it was standing, it would be standing like this. Here, let me switch to the other camera. Like that. So it's nice because it stands on its own. If you look online, there's other protest robots that kind of are, they're not made out of Legos, but they're like installed in art studios and stuff like that, or art installations at galleries that kind of work with the same cranking motion, but they're not fun Legos, so we have one up on them there. All right. Let's go back to the head. So normally I would use this piece, and there's a paper head that we put on that the kids can like cut out and make their own heads. Because this already had quite a few pieces for a 45-minute lesson, so third graders and fourth graders might not finish, or fifth graders for that matter. So we used paper heads, plus the heads give it a bit more flair. But here we might want to make our, so paper head's the same idea. I printed them out and they would just cut them out and tape them on here. But I'm going to make a quick head out of the sensors. So this is the distance sensor, ultrasonic distance and sound sensor. We're not going to use it as a sensor though. I'm just going to make a little head attachment so that we can have a head on here. Put that off to the side. So I need something that's going to connect something that's going to connect straight in here, hopefully symmetric down the middle. I could think of a few situations that might. We could use these black pieces, which yesterday I said I never get to use them, and I think I'm going to use two of them right now. I don't know what they're called. They have two axle connectors and one peg connector. look like that. One side, that's the other side. There's another piece that looks very similar to this from the Mindstorm NXT kits that have like a little bump on the side. These are slightly different than those, so don't confuse them if you have mixed sets. They don't quite fit the same way. What do we got? Okay, so if we connect these right here, then I can get, I can put another one of these on and then get another piece just across the bottom, like that. Let's make it, let's see, our robot's already black and gray. Do I have, I'm gonna use a green piece. So we're gonna take these two. We're gonna need 2 length 3 axles. Let me grab some of those out over here. We have 2 length 3 axles. Again, I would recommend making your own head, especially if you're a teacher, making your own head with paper and just like having the kids make their own heads. It's really fun for students, but I'm not gonna do that. You already saw me just trying to write a sign. All right, so you got it like this, and we're just gonna connect it. So 2 of these pieces, 2 of those black pieces I showed earlier, and 2 length 3 axles, which are gray. We're just gonna snap them on like that, and it's gonna connect like that. And then we're gonna take this green one, and we're gonna use 2 black pegs, putting it into the only 2 available holes on here. Snap that on, snap this in. It's gonna be a really tall head. Not my intentions. Now it looks a little silly, so. Actually, with that in mind, if we're not using the paper head, I can just connect it straight. Like, oh, actually, if I'm not gonna use this piece, I could connect it directly on, but it doesn't really have a neck in that case. So I want my robot to have a neck, so I'm gonna use this green piece here, but instead, I'm gonna switch to 2 blues that I'm gonna connect in here. So that it, there's a little bit of space there. Okay, like that. Okay, now we've got a head on it again. If you wanted to, you could make it motion activated now. We need another wire for that. I'm gonna stick with motor control. So now it does this. Protest robot, angry fist, a sign. There's probably a way we could make it so the head kind of bobbles a bit too. There you go, I'm gonna hold that up here. Subscribe to Sunset Spark NYC on Twitch, or Twitter, or Instagram for that matter. We don't post a lot, I'll tell you that much. So you're not gonna get overwhelmed with things showing up in your feed. When we do post, it's usually about the projects we're working on, the stuff we're excited about, what kids are doing in the classroom. There we go. And again, you could always pop this off and do your paper head with this piece. Let me do a quick paper head actually. Paper head, normally when I do it with kids, I stick to shapes. I'm gonna make let me just color some hair here. Sorry, I should be doing that more on camera for you. This high-end art that I'm doing. Let's add a bit more color to the hair. All right, let's add some angry eyes. It's yelling. Add a nose. All right, let's add a tongue. What's a good color for a tongue? Pink. Ah. Very pronounced chin here. All right, if you want to do it in the class, I'm going to make the hair a little playfuler, I guess. Maybe make this a little less sharp. What I do is, kids, I stick to shapes to show them that shapes can make things pretty good. All right, I'm going to just add some to the hair there. All right. Again, it's just tape. I designed my heads on a computer and just print a bunch of them out so that they can be reused by kids, so I'm not going through as much paper. Here we go. Here it is with a actual head. Looking at it again, shaking. There we go. Again, you could alternate this by shifting the position it is on the gear. Changes the way that it moves its fists. And that is the protest robot. If you're interested in more about this, we actually have a fully photographed guide for it. Subscribe, email us, contact us in some way, and maybe we can send it to you. Cool. So this was our second working episode of Sunset Spark Live. We're going to be broadcasting all week at various hours as we try to get this off the ground and test out different setups. So look for us again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're actually doing a robot battle at another school, so maybe I'll do something battle themed. Maybe I'll just live stream from the battle with just video of the battle and me giving commentary on it. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll bring a video back here to show. Thursday we're gonna have our first guest, I believe. Really excited about that. And Friday we might have another guest as well. If you'd love to be a guest, contact us. We're in New York. You can see our office here. It's a pretty fun office. Lots of kids stuff here because my kids are normally hanging out here. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. Tell your friends. Bye.